Today looks a dry day and it's a weed killing day, and it's going to be homemade weed killing. So the patio needs a really good sweep off, and you can see the amount of acorns still coming down, and you can see the weeds that are grown in the cracks of the patio. And you should be able to pick up the weeds that are growing in the gravel in front of the greenhouse. This is in the side garden where we have all of the hydrangeas and lots of weeds here. Past the fernery, lots of weeds in the gravel. Going through. I'm going to get these all hopefully taken care of when they're not so damp. At the moment they might be too wet. We need a nice dry hot day, which we are planned to have today. Now here we have more seedlings than weeds, and these are poached eggplant seedlings. I don't need them here, so they will receive the weed killing treatment. From my shadow you can see that the sun is coming round now, coming round the cottage. This area is where we have our new lavender and Russian sage border, and you can see that there are loads of weeds, and it's kind of diminished the sharpness of this wooden border with a brick edging, so I need to deal with those. And the same for the brick edging to the drive here. Lots of weediness, and yeah, just diminishes the sharpness of the driveway. Quite an expanse of gravel to do today. I've just had a thought. I wonder if that weed killer would work on the moss on the thatch, or would it damage the thatch? I'm going to put the question onto the forum, the Thatched House forum, and see if anyone's tried it. The bit that you're looking at here on the porch is the existing thatch. That's the only bit of thatch that was left when we had the property rethatched about 2 years ago. The porch and just here above the breakfast room was deemed to be of really good quality, and it had years of life left in it, and so the thatcher suggested that we left those bits. But I think just clearing this bit of moss up would make her look sharper. The gate is open to the pet cemetery, so I'm taking it that last night's Halloween party went really well, and that my son and his friends went for a spooky walk down there. Another autumnal job today is me and my son are going to lift off the cover from the pond and get rid of some of the pond weed. It should be the last time this year because the cooler months means it won't be growing, and we can get some of the leaves that have snuck their way through the net out of the pond so that the nitrogen levels aren't too high in there. So that's another little job for today. And here in the formal garden in the gravel, look at the state of this weedy gravel, leafy gravel. I'll be putting some weed killer down here and making this look sharper, ready for the new gravel in January, February. And the same this side of the formal garden, lots and lots of weeds. It's inevitable. We are in the forest, and we do live next to a paddock that has lots of lush plants and weeds, as we would call them, and the wildlife make good use of them, and they do spread into the garden. But yes, we're very blessed to have this beautiful outlook. Here's my combo. First things first though, you can hear the kettle in the background. I'm gonna have a nice cup of tea. Well, it warms up a bit outside because it's about 6 degrees out there at the moment, and we do need the sun to help us activate the vinegar on the weeds. The dawn will help it stick to the leaves and the stems of the weeds, and then the salt and the vinegar will work their magic and nuke them. So I've got my tea made, and let's pop out and have a look at the weeds that I'm going to be dealing with today. My mug is by Emma Bridgewater, and it's a hot chocolate mug because it takes more than half a pint, and everyone needs that in the morning. And my tea's by Fortnum & Mason, and it's breakfast tea, loose leaf breakfast tea. I'm just gonna have my breakfast, and then the cottage is somewhat in disarray after the Halloween party of last night. We are going to leave a lot of the decorations up and add to it as we approach Samhain, which is next weekend, Halloween, for our grown-up party. 3 tablespoons, large tablespoons it says, of salt. I always use a red watering can for mixing weed killer so that you don't mix it up with water that you're going to use on your precious plants. And then it recommends 3 teaspoons of Dawn washing up liquid. 1, 2, 3. And then it says 1 litre of white vinegar. So 2 of those makes 1 litre. Into my spray bottle because I find that's the easiest way of using it. Just get all of that in there. So before I spray this area, I've got to pick up all of these leaves and acorns. So yeah, bit of a job ahead of me. Patio is relatively clear, but you can still hear the wind in the background, which is going to blow even more leaves and acorns down. But hey, I'm going to tackle these weeds now while the sun is on the patio. I've transferred my concoction into this sprayer so that I can have better control over where I'm spraying it, and I'm going to start spraying. Oh, that's not very dramatic, is it? I kind of work in small squares so I can see where I've been, although I've just broken my rule now. I think you get the drift. I'm going to carry on working. Well, that's the patio done. It's all been sprayed, and then hopefully we can come back in a couple of days and show you that the magic has happened. Fingers crossed. There is a downside to using this, and I've discovered that the vinegar and the salt is making me crave fish and chips. So don't do this when you're hungry. These pansies are going to bring me so much joy in the new planters. Here on the south coast, I think we're experiencing a very late autumn. So hardly any leaves have come down. Crazy. So I've sprayed all along here against the paddock, and it's really safe to use. I've tested it myself. It is basically washing up liquid salt and vinegar. So I'm not worried about horse licking anything from down here, but it dries fairly quickly. Yeah. So in a few days I'll show you what's happened. So it may not look that neat and tidy at the moment, but all the driveway edges have had their leaves swept up, and the weeds either pulled if they're large or sprayed with my homemade weed killer. And like I said, this didn't go as well as the back garden. My sprayer kind of furred up with the salt, and I'm not sure if it's going to work here, but I will let you know in a couple of days how it went. Thank you very much for watching. Please click like and subscribe, and join in the comments below.